Ansary here. It is July 16th in the year 2019, and I'm releasing this video right as we're coming up on the partial lunar eclipse. So the types of things and freedoms from systems of control. These are the things that we want to be focused on if you're anything like me. And we're going from one cycle to another. We want to experience more freedom in our world. But as I talk about the changes in the sun, and I bring certain perspectives to you that perhaps for the very first time, you're coming across these ideas. They may be totally new. The variety of studies. There is a randomized slideshow using various slides and images. If you want to look at all 200, visit otbtv.net. If you want to help out with the financial depression that YouTubers like me are experiencing, right? I'm not making any income from YouTube. We've seen basically a decline like this. Recently, I was on a radio show where I was able to introduce some of these ideas about the sun with a larger audience. So for those of you that are new to my work, there's a lot of information that goes back 10 years regarding the sun and the changes that it brings our world. There's many videos that were produced in the last month on this YouTube channel. This video in particular takes this information about how the sun affects humanity, takes that information about, for example, what you see on the screen here, magnetic portals connecting the sun to the earth, and taking other studies that we have looked at regarding the Caltech study, how we see changes in brainwave activity, a drop of 60%. And we ask ourselves, how might there be a paranormal influence? And I've directly seen a paranormal influence with social media. How certain mental health problems can be made worse through addiction to social media. So there's a reason I'm not on Facebook. I even wondered whether I had to evolve completely off YouTube. But I realize that it is somewhat necessary for me to continue what I'm doing and sharing content here on YouTube in order to help the most people. It's important that we understand that there may be a deeper reason why we've seen a peak in wars during certain periods, and now we're living in the day and age of technology and 5G. How is this going to complicate things as time goes on? Okay, so let's go over this information. The paranormal overtones of the sun's influence has several areas that seem to have a common tie to the changes in the Earth's magnetic field itself, and how that changes our perceptions, at least through the magnetite in the brain cells, thus the perception of the veil thinning. UFOs, possessions, ghosts, even collective manifestation or prayer all may play on this electromagnetic field in some way. Periods of increased solar activity and vice versa can provoke changes to our planet's field as well as every living being. We come closer to the spiritual field as we start to see things as they are without the filter of our programming. So we look at this Caltech study on the alpha brainwaves dropping 60%. Now that's in milliseconds as they alter the magnetic field in these controlled settings. So what's taking place here might describe how the changes in perception taking place could explain certain phenomena, and in some cases potentially explain why we see potential possessions leading to certain types of crime sprees, person-to-person crimes. We're all seeing an increase in these things as we're seeing the changes in the sun and the changes in our field. Not all changes to the field, as I've gotten into in previous videos, are coming from the sun. So consider the science behind how humans can be affected by magnetic fields when examining the arena of UFO sightings, violent crime spikes, ghost encounters, reports of alien abductions, psychic attacks, even spikes in other specific paranoid obsessions or delusions. We see, by the way, in this graphic here, periods in which we saw more sunspots. And this graphic shows a correlation between Roswell and an increase in sunspots in 1947. Many, many sunspots in the months prior to Roswell. And as you look at information, as I'm reading, as you look at information about wars, right, think about who benefits from these insane human wars. I think that there's something more to know here. So keep that in mind as I'm giving you this information, as I'm giving you this perspective. I've held the view that something may be attacking or targeting people energetically, but it's likely beyond human. Even the potential victims appear baffled at how this could possibly happen. How is this possible? Many people want to know. Spiritual warfare on the magnetic fields of humanity can provoke confusion on the target, who may be unable to properly source the attack for a lifetime. Right? Some people may think that their neighbors or the government or others are the only source of said targeting. And I'm here to say that there's something else going on with the solar cycles and perception. Even the perception of voices in the head. There's something else going on in addition to what people think could be going on. Artificial technologies installed in modern cities might provoke symptoms similar to psychic attack. Our perspectives wake up to what is out there, and being uninformed of how we respond to these changes can be deadly. I'm here to connect dots to help accelerate a global aha moment. I'm not here messing with anyone's race, religion, politics, or celebrities. The same cannot be said about many others. But let me tell you, the biggest provoking of the people, it seems, does occur during these changes. And today's mental health field is currently handicapped, in a sense, to understand where these sharp patterns of people flipping out are truly coming from. And they're not open to hearing new ideas. You know, they're textbook trained, for example, and they're not very enthused about going beyond what they've been told thus so far. By the way, I want to make sure people do understand in 2024, where X marks the spot, not too far from St. Louis, Missouri, that we're seeing a number of eclipses come to fruition while we'll be in the solar maximum. So, got to understand the powers that be understand the makeup of the human body and stress responses. I've been involved in the research community for years. Look at all the stuff people have said regarding conspiracies as well as the sun. Rarely do people bring it together in a way that Alex Ansary has. And I don't think that it's by accident that we've seen such extreme algorithm suppression. So if you support this platform, if you support my work, check out the links down below, because this is a very historic time. This would be the time for the universe to send me the assistance that I need as we come up on the lunar eclipse after seeing so much challenge the last decade. Right? I'm bringing this to you as we see a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, as I pray that these videos reach the right souls in human form. Maybe we can come up with some ideas as to how I can help the most people, other than the way that I've been doing things. So this is a time in our world's history to study these things. I believe that some of my work should even be in multiple languages, but more work in editing, maybe a team of editors. Those things need to happen first, and I believe we can do it. So our perspectives wake up to what's out there when we go through these changes. How we respond to these changes can be deadly. Keep that in mind. I'm here to connect the dots and help you. Let me tell you, though, the biggest provoking of the people, it seems, does occur during these changes. So if people don't know what's going on with humanity during the changes in solar activity, if they don't know that the powers that be use the cycles against them, well, a lot of people are handicapped to prevent themselves basically from reacting the way that they want them to react. If people don't know that certain things are manufactured during key parts of the cycle, then their ignorance, really, it can create a problem for them. For the person, especially if they think that they're aware to conspiracies and changes in the sun. If they don't know that certain events are happening on the timeline to get them pumped up and ready to go to war, well, that's not good. We have holes in the Earth's magnetic field. This is the physicality of how this can be possible for forces of intelligence, for forces of influence to be attempting to penetrate our reality. This is how this, I believe, is possible. Remember, these slides were made like 6-7 years ago. So there's references to solar cycle 24. But now we're on our way to solar cycle 25. After 10 years of yours truly discussing 2025 from an intuitive perspective, that we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff come up. And they weren't even talking about unleashing 5G on your cities until recent years. Why is that? Is there something that the power elite know about the potential of human consciousness and the solar cycle? Is that why they're going to use 5G to jam the signal? But let's stay on focus. You know as well as I do that there are videos about UFOs being seen around the sun. Why is that? Why is that? Is there something else about the sun as a portal that humans today are not hypothesizing enough? Right? How do the Archons influence the rise and fall of civilizations, or the directions of souls, as we see the sun influencing the rise and fall of civilizations, as we see the Archons and the planets influencing the human world? Some could say in a very invasive way, with all due respect to those people that are involved in the good work done in astrology. Why are we slaves to the planets? Continuing in the free flow. Violent crime of certain types, especially those involving a group mind, can often be seen during these changes in our reality, from the micro to the macro. The macro is expressed through the nation-state invasion of other countries. The micro is seen through the group bullying dynamic in everyday society, taken at times a pattern of very dark animalistic behavior, even if it's only simple internet memes. This is a pattern of dark behavior that's become normalized, meeting the world of today's technology. Life feeding on life, one might say, but these are some unmindful expressions as the controllers direct mass group mind thinking. Today they're doing construction on the roads outside, so I get to have a little bit of ambiance, road maintenance. Coming to you from the hills, the mountains of Colorado. Sudden rises of memes targeting people. This is a good slide to just share with that regarding Raymond Wheeler. It will come back, but Raymond Wheeler passed on in 2008 with a warning of the future. Raymond Wheeler also looked at the war cycles in conjunction with the sun, taking a look at Alexander Chizevsky's research, and he passed on with a warning to the world. So where do you see us right now in the cycle of freedom versus slavery? Okay, because there are periods in which society falls into authoritative behavior and periods in which society climbs slightly out of the hole. Keep in mind on the following perspectives how spiritual parasites may be manipulating human affairs, periods where their influence seems to radiate the most. I came to these ideas through personal experience, self-observation, observation of attacks on my own person, even dream invasions, other clues that get way more detailed than what we're doing now in this quick video. Okay, subscribe if you're new. Support this platform. There is not content like this on other channels that cover the sun, on other channels that cover human conspiracies, plots, deceptions. I bring together, worlds of knowledge that are normally separated, and I'm saying, no, these things are connected. These cycles are relative to the conversation that we're having. So I've came to these ideas through personal experience, observation of self and others, balancing research, studies, trends, data, facts. So these are things of the left brain with my overall intuition, right brain, sense of inner compass, alignment, knowing, and sensing in ways that are beyond words. Also sensing with my general body consciousness. So it's not all sixth sense. There is the feeling within the body when the sun wakes up and the body wants to go out and do things. Increased activity, increased walking, increased hiking, increased thoughts, increased videos, increased uploads. Specific examples like that. You'll see increased activity from me always when the sun wakes up. So there's a high and a low to all things when we talk about the effect of the sun. Okay, so increased sexual activity. There could be something romantic about that. There can also be the archonic influence over increased sexual activity when it's of the lower side or the unconscious side. Everyone knows what I'm getting at. As we see the highs and the lows of human expression on planet Earth today. So when you're dealing with unmindful expression, war, injustice, taking from others, harming others, you have the archonic influence. It's not just human nature. Really psychotic human nature is coming from a really psychotic place in the cosmos. So a drop in brain activity, even for a moment, could possibly allow the possible possession, however temporary, even down to a night or a few hours. How many unthinkable crimes have occurred when there is a distinct personality shift? A Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde scenario. Also remember what we saw 20 years ago. Changes in the magnetic field when the event took place that led to these wars. While many may blame drugs alone, right? Joking about bath salts as the cause of these mind splits. Today's recovery institutions, rehab, have failed to examine social peaks, solar peaks, rather, with times of relapse and full-blown addictive behavior. Living in Portland, Oregon exposed me to the on-the-street effects during key parts of the cycle. The idea is that increases in solar activity lights us up. This is really key. Etherically, as in they can see us. Think Predator, the movie. And by the way, oh my gosh, I have Predator the movie right here. Checked it out from the library. I think I'll watch it later. Also, check out the interview with Coast to Coast AM. Elements of their first hour have been posted. The idea is that increases in solar activity lights us up energetically. And so people that have been listening to Coast for years or reading the David Icke books or, things that relate to the others, this information is for them. This bud's for you. This bud's for you. People that have been looking at UFOs, ghosts, goblins, the paranormal, right? This content is relevant. In my opinion, in the lifetime that I've had, I'm nearly 40 years old. I'll be 40 February 2020. I've seen an increase in people flipping out during solar flares and showing signs of possession. So while some of us during these eclipses, full moons, may be having a spiritual experience, take a look at the newswire. Take a look at the comment section. Not necessarily here, but elsewhere on the internet. Take a look at average mass consciousness. Not so pretty these days. Not so pretty at all. Let's have a conversation about it. My research into the solar effects are absolutely relevant in today's day and age. It's more relevant than most of my other content and my main topics. Not everyone agrees, but I am seeing clear signs that I'm on the right path. It's important that we learn about these effects. As above, so below. Be aware of the other solar cycles. The longer solar cycles. And the rise and fall of civilizations. How might humans over time and during certain times be pawns to the Archons, to the spiritual parasites that want humans to do their bidding? And so take a look at these wars, take a look at the rise and fall of civilizations, get specific. Look at how we're seeing this as we're seeing major changes in our solar system, changes in the magnetic field of Jupiter, at a time at which we see elements of the power elite salivating about getting off this planet, going to Mars, going to the moon. If the space weather would ever let them, what are they trying to run away from? Is there a blast of positive energy coming our way that is threatening to the power elite? I've been asking these questions for years. So as you see these patterns of times at which wars start, if you're new to my channel, become aware of some of these things. The patterns that I am echoing that came from Alexander Chizevsky, the ebooks of Burl Payne, and many, many others, but not too many. There's actually way more interest in theories about the moon and theories about Planet X, right? And that's okay for people to have theories and investigations, but we should never overlook some of the most basic questions about the paranormal connections to the changes in the sun. The changes in the sun. I believe the dark occultists know this stuff. The problem is there's not enough people that are on the good side in human form that are aware of some of these things. A lot of information has actually, in reality, been pushed underground on a planet of the burial of the Nagamati, right? Written a long time ago, but unearthed in 1945. Also, the Pistis Sophia, unearthed in 1769 in Egypt. Why is all this information being unraveled as we're coming up on this point of 2025 where all of this cosmic energy is available to us? Maybe even we can even link up to a certain degree in a controlled setting, harnessing the power of the mind to stand against the darkness. Oh, there's not a doubt in my mind that if we were working together and on the same side, consciously, we could do a lot for the human species. But it's up to the human species to be self-responsible enough to get to that point to where it's willing to work with other elements of the human species. Right now, we could see a lot of evidence that they have worked to divide and conquer while manipulating the algorithm so that people like myself reach less and less and less people each month on either Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Please sign up today on Patreon and make sure that algorithms like what we see right now don't bury researchers like me. It's in your hands now, not the machine. It's not in the hands of artificial intelligence to help me get more views. It's in the hands of people manually sharing my videos through the social media spectrum, if that's something that you feel called to do. Right? At present, I have faced a lot of difficulty getting out this information. Let's continue on the next point. I mean, we're going to see a lot of major changes in human consciousness. There's a reason why I got out of the big cities before 5G. Before I even knew what 5G was years ago, I just knew there was some sort of writing on the wall that I felt in my heart, deep within. I felt the warning, get out while you can. Get out while you can. And right now, because I am a human and I'm not perfect, right? I still feel a sense of desire. I want to have fun. There's something about the West Coast, even Northern California, hopefully for good reason, right? But I can feel like magnetically being drawn to the West Coast right now. And I'm not so sure that is the best actual decision for me, just because I feel magnetically drawn to come to the West Coast right now and have my bare feet on the beach. Don't know anyone there. Don't have enough financial support to even take care of the meals, rent, hotels. It's not there. So signs from the universe at present, stay where you're at, Alex. Stay where you're at until you have stable community established first. And so I look towards the universe for signs. Okay. So we are coming up again on a partial lunar eclipse. What are those things we really want to see manifest in our lives that are of the positive? Those are those things, whatever those things are, that we need to think about. In my own life, I want the best thing. I don't focus on, oh, I want this, I want that. I want the best thing for me that will help the information go forward. So this could be the best thing. Another option could be the best thing. I want the best option. Thy will not mine be done. Whatever will help the information continue. Whatever will help me survive economically without being corrupted. And so I've survived for a few $100s per month. Sometimes someone may donate $10, $20 when they're able to. There are less people in the core audience, however, that have an admitted interest in the sun. Okay, this can be problematic for us continuing forward. It is important that my core audience keep an open mind and see the relevancy to the sun and understand why Alex Ansary is going to be focusing his energies on this. It does make sense to many of you. And I do thank you for being there. I thank you for your support. But I also know that I have much more work to do. Now, when you think about the planetary influences, when certain planets are influencing wars between humans on Earth, why is that really? Are you really sure that we have all the answers? I don't think we have all the answers at all. No way in hell. There's a deeper reason why some of these things may be manifesting. Why certain alignments and planets coming closer to Earth cause some humans to kill each other. Because when humans kill each other, those humans that stoop to that level of darkness, oh, there's a special place in this universe for them. No doubt in my mind. That's why massive illusions of separation programs are running right now and will continue for the next century. Unless we see major grid disruption, we will continue to see the illusions of separation program on steroids, magnified by technology in ways that probably has some of our ancestors freaked the fuck out if they're even aware of something called the modern internet. The modern internet has been turned into a propaganda tool of the masters of war, the purveyors of war, the people that are benefiting from these wars. So we are living in some amazing times here on planet Earth. And as we look at human reproduction between male and female, I believe that there are attempts to maybe even inject certain types of souls or walk-ins. And so don't overlook the paranormal influence when it comes to humans having sex. Be an adult in the conversation. You know as well as I do that there's something very unusual about human society today and the way in which some children are being brought up. We also see a planet in which some of the people that should be having children aren't having children, aren't even in relationships. They're experiencing the archonic interference. They are isolated by design on a planet. Many good souls that have information to share about the cosmos are isolated by design because of the good work that they're doing. Okay? Keep in mind that you are living in the day and age of the targeted researcher. You're also living in the day and age of the algorithm trying to render our content irrelevant. So as far as I'm concerned, like this is the moment before major world events and wars kick off. This is the moment to attempt to reach the world with this information. This is the quiet before the storm. As cosmic rays bombard our magnetic field, there is a connection to consciousness that many people are overlooking, or not even questioning, or aware of. So going back to this general idea, but here's the quote from Raymond Wheeler that you need to be aware of. Emotional tantrums, frenzied killing sprees. This is what Raymond Wheeler has connected to geomagnetic storms. Now we are going to be on the rise in just the next year. They already say that we're in solar cycle 25, but we're still in the solar minimum. So in a few years, when we see the solar cycle ramp up, as you see geopolitical tensions ramp up, understand you heard it here first, that there is a connection. The going up is going to be the 2021, 2022, 2023. The peak at the top, that would be 2025. We could see something really kick off after 2025 as well, or the war going to the next level. Now, factors like soul stage or soul voltage, as Maurice Cotterell might say, plays a role in humans targeted by archonic entities in this lower realm of realms, also known as Hall or Hell. So if you've listened to Maurice Cotterell on Coast to Coast, he talks about this reality, one in which we are trying to raise our soul voltage. And I would even say that in these dense population centers where you have mandated smart meters, there is more than likely direct harvesting of human energy going on. So not just the harvest of human souls when they're able to direct people towards corruption, right? Because they can control resources. They can control the economy. They can control, how valuable your dollar is. They can easily turn people against other people in this petri dish. Some people are waking up to this. Some people are still in the dark. So it's important to know where we are in the cycle. So they feed on human energy. Okay, and they like to redirect our emotion and feed on the negative emotions. Researchers find themselves targeted through a secret formula followed by the Archons as today's human engages with other humans more directly, influenced by the dark grid, as most now keep its technology close to their vital energy centers. Right? Think about people that have their cell phones on them at all times, close to their vital energy centers, sexual body parts, even if they know better. Okay? Author David Icke, as well as other Coast to Coast AM guests, have stated their views on the human simulation, energy vampirism, psychic attack, energy harvesting, 5G technology. In the simulation, it's suggested that our senses, actions, behaviors are often redirected and our energies harvested. Eve Lorgan's The Love Bite. Check out my interview with her. It's posted at the front page of my YouTube. Okay, so her Love Bite Dark Cupid book, which you can find for free, on relationship energy vampirism, is a great expression of the idea that I'm expressing to you now. Okay, of non-human interference in human affairs, specifically sex, relationships. Okay, her work shines the light on the malevolent forces working behind the scenes to sabotage our affairs, seeking to redirect our actions, love, and talents. I'm suggesting a specific at-risk period in which some humans might fall prey to the casting of spells from these entities, as well as ending up, in some cases, entrenched in manipulating our current group mind direction. So we have to protect ourselves. Psychic self-defense. This is why people Google psychic self-defense. As the cycle kicks up and people start hearing more voices in the head or other disturbances, dream invasions, I can go on. And the last 3 years, I have gone on the archonic interference. I've also talked about the sun. But it would be in the approach to the solar and lunar eclipse of 2019 that the universe brought me some additional, at least assistance to get the word out. Now, if people think that my ideas, right, aren't that relevant, that's not on me. What's on me, what's on Alex Ansary, is to share the information and to work to get it out to the most people, to help the most people, even going as far as pulling back some of my own controversial topics and or whining about things that I may not enjoy about my life. So many videos were about that. Even during periods in which there was more audience support, there were more videos about those challenges. Now I'm focused on something that I perceive to be something that can be empowering to us. This is a new concept, I understand. And I'm going to keep going because it's the right thing to do. It's not just a typical conspiracy theory. It's not whining about potentials for doom and gloom. It's discussing that there is a potential consciousness connection to the sun, as above, so below, but maybe even as below, so above. We can take a look at the warnings from Raymond Wheeler. We could see the effects on the brain today. And we can ask ourselves, how can we best apply this in our lives? Because one of the things that I'll say right now is that Netflix, I'm taking a look at, what's on Netflix right now. There are some interesting things that were made in the Netflix movies based on reality. I've said this before. If you want to learn about the supernatural, learn about the supernatural. Don't confuse it with the special Netflix movies. And I'm realizing that a lot of the Netflix movies have taken some of these concepts, and it's almost like something that ends up debunking legitimate concerns because they made it a movie. Does that make sense? I bet some of you have noticed this. I noticed someone subscribed to this channel that put out a very detailed video, a shout out, I believe it's Oni. He was talking about Strange Things 3 now on Netflix and what he's noticing within that series. And they are really pushing Strange Things. I'll notice they'll do a lot of things that are nostalgic, that are 80s themed as well, just to get, the asses in the seats, whether it be Guardians of the Galaxy or Stranger Things 3. It's like, I love the 80s. Not knocking the 80s. I love the 80s. Not into social engineering and mind control. Not into certain things being implanted. I'm not a big believer that Netflix producers are trying to help us wake up to Jack. So my opinion on why we see truth in Netflix is so that the establishment and the people that watch establishment media, when they come across the truth, they'll say, he got the idea from a movie. He got the idea from Netflix. Does that make sense? I know this makes sense to a lot of you. That's why they put the truth in movies. That's why they put it out there. So people can say, as these things manifest, oh, these people are nuts. They got the idea from a movie. What? Or did the people that script out the movies binge watch YouTube and steal ideas from YouTubers? Oh, yeah. You know, in the world of advertising, we're just going to say this really quickly. In the world of advertising, radio, TV, like they have like creative geniuses that are able to, kind of like an Archon, invert reality. They look at what sells. The marketing geniuses, like a bill from Bill Hicks, they look at what sells. We even see sun symbolism. So we have like basically a society totally ignorant to the sun, but on a DNA level, we are connected to the sun. So they'll bring out Marvel Comics. They'll bring out certain things that activate that cellular memory. So things that seem like they're solar deities or superheroes, which are basically solar deities taking on the Archons. Whether we're looking at He-Man take on Skeletor, rescuing the Earth Goddess from the Archons as a solar deity, right? As the swords clash. Kind of like a solar flare. Shh. We see the swords clash in Masters of the Universe between He-Man and Skeletor, the solar deity rescuing the Earth Goddess from the darkness of the Archons. We are in a similar predicament, and some of us have that collective consciousness of the group soul of the hero. And we have been broken out like glass into 1,000 million pieces, and we're trying to elevate our soul voltage so we can go home. Am I crazy for suggesting that we're more than just this? That maybe we've been cast down into this in order to rise up in the passing, of course, of the body. I'm not talking about typical New Age rapture. We're talking about where does the soul really go after living? I'm talking about an age-old question that mankind has engaged in. So for those people that are truly faithful, I mean, there is something for everyone with regards to this information. I'm going to be busy this week doing what I have to do to try to make an income in the shortfall with YouTube. So I will be back when I can with videos. There's ways you can show your support. There's ways you can help without even money. Something as simple as sending the videos to people that may be really interested in the content, maybe even people that might want to help. Publishers. How many of you have a publishing company that are watching this channel right now? Because I'm looking for the day in which there's an answer to that question, because we have work to do in the next couple of years to educate as many as possible, to cheaply as possible, get zines in the hands of people around the planet so that they know, right, the warning signs. And there also has to be some outreach to help those people after the solar flare. That's literally the title of a pamphlet that I envision in the hands of the generation of tomorrow, after the solar flare, and helping children and adults understand what happened here, because there's a lot of disinformation about what's happening on the planet right now. The power shifts on the planet. A lot of people truly have no idea of what the new world order really is. Beyond the left-right paradigm, something that controls both Democrats and Republicans. Not something that's partisan, us versus them. No. True globalism is still in action here on planet Earth. It's time to wake up and smell the weapons technology exported around the world. It's not by accident. Q Bono, who benefits from Megadeth in the Middle East. Q Bono, who benefits from staged, managed World War III scenarios of the future. I have an idea. People may not agree with Alex Ansary, but Alex Ansary has an idea. Alex Ansary is on a mission to help many humans understand things are not as they seem. People should really second think, discarding content like this. Continuing. There are some spiritual solutions that we will touch on, but the first step here is realizing the possibility that the controllers, whoever, whatever they are, likely understand human psychology, physiology, sexuality, and other base animal instincts. I suspect that the effect of 5G, what it's going to be is the opposite of what one might expect from, say, meditation, shielding, grounding, as they connect to the sun, or a deeper, more introspective way. Protecting our energy and consciousness through psychic self-defense practices becomes a more direct necessity as the modern technology's overlay is laying its disharmonic waves and frequencies, fields, into our natural selves in worlds. Okay? As more humans struggle with something as specific as hearing voices in their heads. We've seen an explosion in people reporting this in recent years all around the world. What's really going on? We can find some serious studies regarding the unknown health risks of modern urban living alongside technologies that our ancestors evolved without. Discounting the possibility of possession by entities, archonic or earthbound, in favor of a simple mental health explanation or blaming bath salts isn't helping us. It isn't helping us find out why modern humans are flipping out so far out to other fields of reality. Some we might even call insane or dangerous. Patterns in specific kinds of crimes rising, right? Or certain kinds of people. The result of a collective targeting of society is where we're looking, i.e. the targeted collective. You heard this term from me often, months ago. Is there an ancient targeting of souls to get them to behave in ways that ensure their long-term soul enslavement to this realm? So there could be like a bounty or a price tag in entrapping certain types of high, light, or voltage souls by duping souls that are on the way up to be cast back down. And right now, I believe that there are multiple programs that are doing just that. But try telling that to today's person involved in partisan politics on the left or the right. The judgment is the same. In my experience, the judgment from the left and the right have been the same judgment. Okay. When we also see a sharp rise in demon worship or occult practices in fascist political movements, magic used to influence social direction or to manipulate, we're seeing a paranormal influence over human affairs. Slender Man, for example, is an internet meme that takes on a life of its own, a thought form of its own, with some of the followers going on to commit homicide to appease this online deity, somehow tied to a collective of minds. So this is one example of many of today's interconnected world that is feeding on a certain type of energy. So what are the political versions of this that we can identify today? Now, the Beetlejuice movie could be seen as a metaphor for the relationships between spiritual parasites trapped in a dimension of reality and the humans or other spirits. Beetlejuice is trying to manipulate spirits in both human and non-human form in the movie. The warning in the movie regards the saying of his name 3 times. It also seems metaphoric for other spiritual teachings about being careful about who and what we allow ourselves to get courted to. During times of increased solar activity, the Beetlejuice factor may be amplified a bit, meaning there may be an increase in human, non-human pacts of the underworld taking place. Mutual agendas may be rolled out as some humans play host for the agenda of other beings. Think some of the tensions taking place right now and the years of commentary on the subject. Western foreign policy has always appeared to be an archonic agenda to destroy the Middle East and its people for reasons not fully honestly disclosed to the people of Earth at this time. They demonize them for a reason. They've been marked. You're not being told this. You're even being told media that those people are preferred. Everything will be done, potentially, with technology to lead people towards full-blown dark side. This is about an agenda to harvest souls. I'm here to put out information that can trigger some people to think twice about behaving in certain ways. There's an agenda. Violent mob violence and random person-to-person crimes of extremely violent or sexual natures to them are all specific behaviors that bring suspicion of additional factors like entity manipulation of the group mind. Many independent people can be targeted with a similar program, acting it out alone in their mind, but in reality moving with a collective of others also programmed with the same thought or combination of subliminal messages. Now, if you want to help me, either financially or otherwise, you got to understand that me putting out this information, I think, resulted in some bad luck and things I'm not talking about now. And that's it. That this information that I'm sharing with you now is not clickbait, and it has resulted in some strange stuff happening behind the scenes in my life. There's been like some strange internet reactions to things that I've said. It's made me really wonder what the hell is coming in the next couple of years. So for those of you that are feeling something really strong for things that I'm saying, I'm waiting to see greater signs of help. If not, I need to make some major lifestyle changes that may pull me away from YouTube in order to pay my bills. And maybe, just maybe, I've already put out the information that I need to. Maybe, just maybe, Alex Ansary is putting the capstone, is completing a cycle of speaking. Maybe that is a subconscious reason why some people may be drifting away, because they subconsciously know that I'm hitting the climax of a lifetime of knowledge and information. That's where we are. YouTube was started in 2006. I started doing cable access TV in 2004. Here we are completing a cycle of activism. And I'm seeing great challenge in my life financially. I feel that if I was more entertaining and more, relaxed, if I worked to entertain people with the latest top 40 headlines of the day, it would be a different algorithm. But I've been talking about the sun and the power elite using the solar cycles against us. Why do I feel punished? Why do I feel punished? But I will continue because I am in deep, and there's no going back for individuals like me. Okay, the only thing is to keep moving forward because we're doing this for the evolution of our own soul. That was the main theme. That was what I said on the air on Coast to Coast AM. That at least being able to present an idea that was controversial that I think has even held me back and brought some bad luck to me. Regardless of that, and my opinions about that, some would say paranoia, I would say hypervigilance. But the greater reality is, right, now I've reached this point to where these dots are connecting, these world events are taking place, tensions are increasing with Iran, we've seen recent earthquakes. The information that I've been accruing isn't by accident, and it's more relevant now in 2019 going into 2020 than ever before. And it's time more elements of the core audience that's been here for years understands this and understands that these are very outside the box ideas when you compare who I am, the things that I'm suggesting. These are outside the box of anything anybody is saying in the mainstream world of ufology, geopolitics, or solar flares, and this you know. You might not agree with it, but you can understand and see that there was a lot of work over the years that came before today's video. Dedicated work, not giving up the hope, not giving up the dream. That this information can help people and will reach the people that it can help. Through synchronicity, through your help, through angels working behind the scenes, some physical, some not physical. Some humans may be called to be of assistance during certain periods in order to help us get the message out. Can we identify those miracles in our lives? So this is subtle targeting that we're discussing on the internet where people are being affected by the technologies. We're seeing the rise in certain types of behaviors that are not promoting researchers saying their highest truth or their deepest truth. We live in a world where the punishment reward system is very, very real. It's very, very real. And sometimes it's reversed from what it really should be because this world has fallen. If the researchers are already discussing entity possession, and that causes them to have issues with other people that already have the infection, as we enter the day and age of 5G, oh shit. It's a cause for concern. It's a cause for a deeper examination of this working model theory of the archonic hijacking of human consciousness during key parts of the cycle, or when certain technologies are brought in. The group mind manipulation is designed to capture the group soul upon the carrying out of the programmed harmful actions and treatments to others. Capiche? This concept of a harvest of souls during intense periods of geomagnetism is where the answers can be found regarding alien motive, i.e. the question often asked, why would any form of intelligence be trying to mess with us? Or how are they enslaving us? We're food. Think of Morpheus trying to explain to Neo, holding up a battery. They want to turn us into this. Well, newsflash, sunshine and my friends, they already have. They launch certain wars for a reason. Mainstream ufology is in the dark ages and needs to catch up. That's my honest opinion. This isn't a joke. This isn't something to get us excited about the next Netflix special or to watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind for the 100th time. At what point are we going to realize the connection with the solar cycles and eclipses and other things in our world? Are we in a world that by default punishes the solar researcher? Whether it's Alexander Chizevsky, Alexander Ansary, right, Galileo, or others. Why does it have to be so difficult? I mean, you look at the world of astrology. I can type in astrology, Pisces, and there's hundreds of thousands of views on how the planets influence our lives. Why does my life talking about the sun influencing our life feel so suppressive? Is this a micro of something larger going on within our whole universe? All signs point to yes, that we're dealing with something much bigger than our peon, small little ant-like reality in this planet called Earth, undergoing a weakening Earth's magnetic field. They say that it can shift within our lifetime. The magnetic poles, a pole shift within our lifetime. Looking at trees in China, the latest studies say yes, within our lifetime. Changes and new discoveries in our solar system. All eyes on Mars. All eyes on Venus. All eyes on Jupiter. All eyes on Saturn's rings coming close to Earth. Boy, isn't that creepy. When are we going to connect the dots? When will there be an awesome roundtable of solar flare researchers talking about the human behavioral response, 5 deep, 6 deep, on Coast to Coast AM? Count me in for that. Count me in for that. The art of global mass possession is the archonic interference in human affairs. There is a David Dees art piece that is depicting humans with heads replaced by TVs, and the TVs were energetically corded together. Some of you may remember this. It was in one of the David Icke books. This new 5G technology may alter our own electromagnetic fields in ways that also cross our fields together. It's like Ghostbusters don't cross the streams. Something like that, crossing some streams, the lines that should not be crossed or blended together. Like a hive mind attempt to take us offline from the real grid and connect our field to something unnatural, another field other than the Earth's geomagnetic field. Now, the divine grid or field is the primary field that humans have so far evolved within. So the new technology, this could be alien technology, masquerading as random human technology. Okay, it could drown out these natural electromagnetic signals. It's basically guaranteed to. As digital wave pollution seems positioned for world domination of some kind or another. Now, from this electro pollution, affecting all regions of a modern city by design, we could see the potentials of a zombie apocalypse waiting in the wings. Okay, I saw first indications of a link between changes in the sun and mass zombie behavior, almost like possession-like symptoms in the group mind. I've talked about this in previous videos where you might see the prototype personalities, people using some of the same keywords and language, not thinking for themselves. There are signs of group possession. It's true. Now you'll see denial from that same group, yelling back as a group, but there really are signs of group possessions on all different sides of the political aisle, not limited to the United States. Think outside the box of just all this war drum that's pumping, all the war drums on all sides. Get outside the box and look at how what I'm discussing is something that applies to all countries, all ethnicities, all times. It's time to wake up. The rise and return of the solar disk hero deity is firmly entrenched in our collective consciousness, and focus properly can be turned to, again, both now spiritually, but also in a future national emergency or invasion. Okay, make sure you're subscribed now. That video's coming. I don't put God off to the side when considering the sun. What others do is up to them. I'm not here to mess with other people's religion, but if other people want to judge me, right, that's on them. I know what I feel inside, right? And aligning with society's back toward treatment of the solar sciences doesn't impress me. Ghost hunters at lower elevations or on the coastline have reported more activity on their devices during geomagnetic storms. Okay, so you can find some articles about that. It's the magnetite in the human brain that I think is why some people might be picking up on voices, ghosts, seeing things that may not be there on one dimension. How do we know that they're not there at all? Now, there's more that I could read, but I'm going to pause. If there is a publisher watching this video now or in the future that will be guided to my work, I'm sitting on a mounting body of evidence that it's pretty limited just expressing this to YouTube, to the core 100 or 200 viewers, which have already heard this spiel. And YouTube is purposely reducing my views, which reduces the amount of public support that I can raise. The people that can support, I'm pretty sure are or have in the past, if they were able to in the past but can't now. So those of you that are able to support coming up in August as we come out of this retrograde July month, I'd be real happy to see that. For those that do know, I live off the grid and we're getting ready for another winter. And so there may be weeks or months in which I have to have stored food and fuel just to operate here. That's not really conducive to having a part-time job driving up and down with icy roads. I can do it now because it's summer. What are we going to do in the winter? Sign up now at bare minimum, if you can, for anywhere between $1 and $10 a month at patreon.com, and that'll be a step in the right direction. Till next time, I'm Alex Ansary, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.